No More Heroes is a cool and good video game. And then there's Desperate Struggle. Yikes. Unlike some No More Heroes fans, I don't absolutely hate Desperate Struggle. Its combat is still fun, although the enemy design definitely took a hit there, and the music is damn good, but it's counterbalanced with arguably some of the worst bosses in gaming history, as well as the atrocious story. And I've seen a lot of disastrous stories in gaming. Bayonetta 3, Sonic Forces, Mega Man X7. I don't really think there's a tier list of games notable for their god-awful stories. But I definitely have seen a lot of misfires, and I think Desperate Struggle ranks pretty high among that list. But in order to understand what makes Desperate Struggle's story so bad, we have to go back to No More Heroes 1, the absolute classic on the Nintendo Wii. But obviously, before we begin, definitely a spoiler warning for No More Heroes 1 and 2. I didn't play Travis Strikes Again or No More Heroes 3 yet, so you'll be safe from those. But for No More Heroes 1 and 2, if you're at all interested in them, definitely play 1 at least. Maybe if you liked enough of 1, go for 2. Oh, I said I didn't hate Desperate Struggle, but I really don't think it's that great of a game in comparison to No More Heroes 1, so play at your own risk. But at least I can certify you that No More Heroes 1 is definitely some decent stuff, so definitely check that out. Anyways, No More Heroes 1 is a narrative all about Travis Touchdown, a nerdy shut-in who lives a below-average lifestyle with basically no one to keep him company. Except his best friend, Bishop, who operates a local video store. Although he lives a very simplistic life, it's nonetheless stable enough to keep him afloat. This is until Travis nets a beam katana from an internet auction, which leaves him piss broke. With his lack of financial stability, he heads to a bar to drink off his woes and ends up meeting Sophia Crystal. While drunk, he agrees to an assassination gig for the Drifter, which nets him the 11th rank of the United Assassination Association, my god, my head hurts, after he kills him, which puts him at risk of assassination from up-and-coming assassins. With this in mind, Travis heads off to his next mission to kill Rank 10, Death Metal. It's here where he kills basically everything and everyone in his path, and we get to see the best side of Travis by far, him at work. Travis Touchdown has this Dante-esque reach over his opponents. Now at a first glance, this is pretty cool to us. We just booted up the game. Travis is already going down and killing people. What's not to love? Well, what's not to love will come briefly after Death Metal. Now, in spite of Death Metal's ranking, he seems to grow rather tired of his profession, instead choosing to live in peace, staring at the horizon until his eventual death. He has no futures, no desires, or the will to do much of anything. He seems to forewarn Travis of the true life of an assassin. It's not something to be honored, simply an endless cycle of killing others or dying yourself. Chasing after those rankings ended Death Metal up here, alone and isolated.
So naive. You have no idea, do you? What a pity. You make an old man cry. Arrogant, crude little shits like you come around from time to time. Listen well, young one. The wall is high, higher than you will ever know. Ultimate sacrifice is sublime. Now draw.
Huh. You can take that to your grave.
It's a sad reflection of the ending Travis will get should he continue down this path. But it's something Travis pays basically no attention to. Blinded by the simple satisfaction of achieving the #1 spot, Travis engages in combat and ends up killing Death Metal, cementing his status as a professional assassin. However, oddly enough, rather than feeling proud about himself for reaching his first ranking, he remains rather ambivalent and continues down his path. Sylvia reaffirms that the only way to get out of here is to be killed by an assassin yourself, which really only motivates Travis to climb up the rankings. But not before he asks Sylvia for a promise.
Back. Okay, how about this? If I become #1, will you do it with me?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Come on, just once.
After this comically tragic line drop, we get a further exploration of Travis as a character. Travis is a bona fide loser, no other way to put it. He lives a drab life, isolated. Without a significant other or many friends to really call his own, he absorbs himself in the media he consumes as a form of escapism. Not only this, but he demonetizes himself to some rather unsavory content. He looks up to the characters he sees within his games, the wrestling matches, and anime. This is the world of No More Heroes. A world filled with these assassins and jobs no longer becomes a tangible world in and of itself. Instead, it becomes from Travis's point of view, who sees the world as a game. The lines that Travis uses to intimidate his foes goes from cool to pretty corny, although still cool. The minions of these assassins are reduced to enemies Travis must take out to complete the level. Likewise, these big bad assassins are no longer human. Instead, they're just simply video game bosses. And when he finally gets the kill, he climbs up the leaderboard of the UAA. The jobs and training Travis goes through are simple minigames to pad out the runtime of this metaphorical game. Travis gains direct upgrades to his sword, like a video game. The nature of No More Heroes being a video game subdues some serious moral implications for Travis. The fact that he's going through killing hundreds of enemies without a thought from the player, and despite the more fantastical elements of the story feels relatively grounded. Travis may view all these characters as bosses, but No More Heroes actively rejects this viewpoint. The assassins we face have real lives outside of the gig. Dr. Peace, the 9th ranked assassin, truly has nothing else in his life. He fruitlessly pursues karaoke to cope with his estranged family. Within that depression, he takes lives to satisfy the black hole within him, unbeknownst that it only grows with each life he takes. A common theme in No More Heroes is the regret within each assassin, something that Travis seems to lack. With one of the assassins, Holly Summers, going as far as to take her own life after being defeated by Travis. She really felt like she had nothing left. The sole exception to this rule is Shinobu Jacobs. She's akin to Travis, young, naive, and seemingly unaware of what lies behind their jobs. But outside of the standard levels, the boss dialogue reveals something much deeper for Travis. He hounds these assassins for basically doing their job, when in reality, he's doing the same thing.
Pop quiz. Why am I such an angry bitch? Seriously, no matter how many I kill, it's all the same. They're all going to pay. Yeah, with their fucking lives.
You're a bad girl.
You have no right to look at me like that. It's just a job. The daily grind.
You're no assassin. You're just a perverted killing maniac.
In essence, they're the same. Don't go on thinking you're better than me. You think you're hot shit. Who the fuck do you think you are? Come on!
In the end, No More Heroes stays true to its name. The game truly has no heroes. The assassins are depicted as isolated, worn-out killers, and Travis is never rewarded for his actions in the story. In the end, every assassin in this game is Travis, in a sense. They all started out with high energy, taking pride in what they did, but as they went on, they all simply became tired. Even in this conflicted narrative, even Sylvia takes advantage of people in this story, as the UAA would end up being a massive con. Upon this revelation, Travis snaps out of it, and Santa Destroyed returns to reality, as he realizes what happened. Being as high ranked as he is, he just effectively ruined his life. He has nothing to lose now, and all he does is set out to finish the job. The thing is, the first rank is replaced by Geon Touchdown, who just kills Death Star in front of Travis's eyes. But he doesn't care. He wants to finish the job regardless. Geon's backstory also reveals something interesting about the assassins we face.
You are my half-brother. You know that manga called Miyuki? The Japanese one? Well, it's like that. Your father abandoned my mother to run off with your mother. It broke her heart beyond repair. She killed herself. Knowing I had nowhere to go, he took advantage of me. Ever since I can remember, he molested me. We lived in this rotten apartment, and I was his slave. Every day I cursed his soul. I swore that I would kill him one day. But cursing didn't change anything. That's when I decided to become a killer. With no money to pay for training, I paid with my body. But to you, I bet that son of a bitch looked like a hard-working family man. That was all an act. He didn't give two shits about cleaning up my life. So I decided to clean it up myself. That's why I do what I do. And I got what I wanted. Killing him in front of your very eyes.
That's my story.
This one story completes the DNA of an assassin's psyche. In this world, assassins start off with hopes and desires, only for a traumatic incident to happen. And at their lowest moments, when all hope seems lost, Sophia comes along, promises them the world if they do this one gig, and unbeknownst to them, they've been doomed. Don't get me wrong, the assassins are most definitely not justified in their actions. But they all have different motivations for joining the UAA, which further adds to their character. With a story with nearly a dozen characters, all of them feel so much greater in the grand scheme of things, something I'm sure was not easy to do. I'm sure. With the death of Geon, Travis has truly done it. He's achieved number 1. But what for? Only for the next assassin to show up and try to take his spot for the rest of his life? Even he's not sure. He has the previously promised affair with Sophia, but over the lives of a dozen and counting. The only thing awaiting him now is a rookie assassin trying to take his spot. And eventually in the true ending, Henry, Travis's twin, attempts to take out Travis in one last battle. And in the final shot of the game, both of them swing at each other before the scene suddenly cuts to a museum with Sophia and the child looking at all. Thus concluding, No More Heroes. No More Heroes perfectly takes advantage of the medium it's given to craft a one-in-a-kind story. It immerses the player into this deep, dark world and questions the morale of everyone and everything within the story. I'll be honest, before playing No More Heroes, I had never really cared about game stories. But No More Heroes really opened my eyes and made me realize that video game stories can be so much more. They can have just as much nuance as any medium, or potentially even more. I could talk about so much with No More Heroes' narrative, believe me, but I'd rather shelve that in favor of a much longer review. But then there's No More Heroes 2, which really makes me want to nix that idea. Now, real quick, before we begin, I just wanted to note that No More Heroes 2 retcons the UAA, which I don't really have an issue with. Basically, a retcon is just making something canonical that would otherwise contrast a previously published work, which is not bad writing in and of itself, especially if it helps the story. In this case, yeah, I would argue it definitely helps the story. It was necessary for the game to continue where it is. Now, if it was otherwise, I would say that's bad writing because it just makes the story worse. Especially if it contrasts a very big character arc, I'm not really a fan of that. But it's in the eyes of the writer. I won't fault them for what they did literally 14 years ago. 14 years, yeah. So, yeah, no opinion on that. What I do have an opinion on, No More Heroes 2 starts after Travis's retirement for the United Assassinations Associations. How he did so, we have no idea. But anyways, Travis is back and ready to kick some ass. And we start off with Helter Skelter, or Skelter Helter, who enacts revenge for his brother, who Travis killed in the first game, who is Helter Skelter. This was a stupid idea. Big fucking issue number 1. Like I said, I don't have an issue with retcons, so long as they enhance the story. But this one takes a lot of the stakes out of the first game's narrative. Remember, you don't just walk away from the UAA, you have to die to leave. I can't buy that Travis had 0 threats on his life in that time. But also, number 2, if he left, why did he return at all? I know this may be a dumb question to some, but seriously. Just say he wanted to see Sophia, and then Skelter challenged him along the way, or hell, even say that he needed the money again. Or maybe he didn't even leave in the first place, because I imagine someone who steps away from an assassination gig wants to, not kill people. But, okay. Anyways, as predicted, Travis kills him pretty easily. And as such, he is ranked the 51st best assassin. But with his head conveniently landing on the vitals necessary for communication, Skelter warns Travis of the revenge he will endure. Because it's not like that happened in the first game or whatever. But anyways, immediately following that, they kill Bishop and throw his severed head in Travis's room. And Travis, blinded by emotion, seeks revenge on the current head honcho of the head honcho of the UAA leaderboards, Pizza Bat. Or not Pizza Bat. Jasper Bat, got it. And thus, Travis aims to climb the rankings once more. A sound story in spite of its flaws, right? I just really wanted to know what happened in the writer's department, because good god, this writing is really dreadful. In comparison to the first game, no boss really seems as important as they should be. In No More Heroes 1, each boss was a lesson for Travis in the world of assassination, but Desperate Struggle, on the other hand, severely lacks this quality. When it's the first or second boss, I can tolerate it, but when we get to Chloe Walsh, I kind of ask, what's the point of fighting these bosses? Other than obviously climbing the rankings, but still. And it's weird, because No More Heroes 1 just did that perfectly. But on the other hand, No More Heroes 2 really made these bosses really unmemorable for whatever reason. Hell, even characters close to Travis are kind of reduced to nothing. Shinobu from No More Heroes 1, this badass African American, takes shit from nobody. Now when she's in a love triangle with Travis and kills 2 bosses, and then Travis rejects her and she just leaves. What the fuck? It makes it so characters feel so much more disconnected from the real world that it's not even funny. It's supposed to be self-parodying of anime stereotypes, but reducing one of the coolest characters in No More Heroes 1 to this is a really big embarrassment. I know No More Heroes 1 wasn't a totally realistic game as well. It was still pretty grounded and, most of all, believable. For whatever reason, in No More Heroes 2, fucking mecha battles. Aside from being easily the best part of a really disappointing sequel, No More Heroes 2 nearly finds its way in the last parts of the story. At this point, the reality of what Travis is doing starts to set in more, and he almost seems remorseful in some cases, in a sense. He shows mercy to rank 7, although he still gets killed by Sylvia in the end. But Travis is weirdly upset about it. And yes, while Henry goes out to kill the next 3 assassins, Travis battles Margaret Moonlight, who sings a new song, Philistine, teasing Travis. And although he still kills Margaret, her last wish is for Travis to memorize the song, in which case, he does. And so do I. It's a banger, trust. And then we fight Captain Vladimir, a missing cosmonaut, who Travis leaves to die peacefully. And then near the end of the game, we get so close. Travis realizes that the assassins are indeed human. They had lives, just like Travis. And by the time he reaches Alice Twilight, he's done. The music takes on a begrudging tone. The combat seems damn near endless at some point. And before he fights Alice, she just wishes for everything to end.
Travis, you are incredible. Everything I hoped for.
Tell me your name.
Promise me you won't forget. There once was an assassin named Alice.
I won't forget, Alice.
Sophia!
You are now officially ranked second.
See that? Now that was a battle. Look at this blood. We humans are alive, even if we are assassins. Doesn't matter if it's a video game, movie, drama, anime, manga, we're alive!
And this is the one line that made me stop taking everything in this game seriously. I know Travis is a disillusioned, unserious clown half the time, but this is a bridge too far. This is the moment where Travis finally snaps out of it, and it's also probably the most important line in the entire series. But the writing really kills it for me. It's some of the most corny Looney Tunes shit I've ever heard. I feel like if he stopped talking after "we humans are alive, even if we are assassins," the scene would be a lot better. Travis never really stays silent throughout this entire thing, so having this moment of silence would be a groundbreaking moment for the character. But really, no. We had to get one more reference to the fact that Travis is a huge nerd. We get it, man. Also, dude, you went out of your way to kill over 60 people, even people who you understand and respect, just to come to this? And also, and maybe this is missing the point, but still, if you respected Alice so much, why did you kill her? Remember Shinobu and Ryuji? Travis didn't kill them, and he still got the rank. Okay, Shinobu more so, but still, what happened there? So much for "we're alive." This just cements my opinion of No More Heroes 2 as a failure of storytelling. But if you're still interested in this video, I might as well give you the conclusion to the whole thing. After Eyeless Twilight, we get arguably one of the worst final bosses of all time, alongside an ending which really leaves nothing to the imagination. After heading over to Jasper Bad's place, he fakes the murder of Travis's friends Sylvia, Shinobu, and Henry, even though we know Sylvia is alive, so this cannot be possibly true, to get him amped up for the final showdown. Travis, after 3 goddamn phases, Jesus Christ, manages to take down Jasper, and as he falls down to the city, Sylvia catches him as he's falling and drops him back at the motel. All is good, the head assassin is dead, and oh yeah, for those of you who heeded my warning and played the fucking game, you know that whole peep show thing? Yeah, so basically, that's just Sylvia the entire time, right? And Sylvia wants to look for Travis, and he finds, or she, it doesn't matter. They reunite, it's just like, oh, but other than that, I don't know what else to say, man. I'm sorry, but on a fundamental level, No More Heroes 2 just doesn't make any sense for Travis as a character, nor does it attempt to convey said themes well. I refuse to believe that someone who stepped away from assassination after seeing what this kid does to people returned to number 1 and experienced the same hell he went through 3 years ago. And any themes it attempts to tell are lost in a sea of piss-poor writing. And even then, in a character-focused narrative, none of the characters feel as important as they should be. And even then, the whole revenge thing just kind of falls apart when we consider Jean in No More Heroes 1. You could say, oh, now it's personal. He's known Bishop his entire life, but whatnot. But you know what else is personal? No More Heroes 1. He killed his sister in cold blood and nearly killed Henry too, some of the only family he had left. Even if he didn't personally know them, there's gotta be something attached there. And that doesn't really help the fact that this story has no rhyme or reason to it at all. Things just happen. Kill this guy, kill the high schooler, or not kill the high schooler, but still. It wants to take itself seriously in the last hour of gameplay. It just doesn't work. It feels like the first draft, because Travis has the most insane character regressions ever. It's not subversive, it's not clever, it's not funny, and overall it just feels so redundant for Travis. Now, that being said, there's still a few good elements in here. I did really like the music playing into the story. An element I really like coming from No More Heroes 1, but man, it's not worth it for a far more flawed story and character arc for Mr. Touchdown. I didn't play the games following this, but good God, I really want those stories to be good, especially after this one, which just left me disappointed and wanting more from a sequel. Especially when it comes to the future of an assassin, which No More Heroes 1 perfectly set up the post for. All I know is that No More Heroes 3 is about as batshit insane as No More Heroes 2, which I don't mind inherently. But when you're trying to replicate No More Heroes 1's story, it falls flat. No More Heroes 2 may be a good game, or it may not be. I don't care. Because its story was just unbearable for me. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Hey guys, thanks for watching this vid. This was a bit of an odd first video for me, as I was kind of expecting to delve into game reviews first, before a story analysis, but hey, things change, I guess. If you want me to do more story analysis stuff, feel free to let me know down in the comments in which games or shows you'd like to see me tackle next. If you're here for the reviews instead, fear not. I'm still in the process of creating a large-scale Super Meat Boy series retrospective, as well as a few games on the side to hold you all over. Also, I do have another channel, For Glory, which covers competitive Smash 4. I did launch it a fair bit ago, and it's been doing decent numbers, so if that interests you, check it out. But in the meantime, be sure to subscribe and tune in next time for more Goose.
La